Hi, my name is Thais Gibson, and I'm the creator of the Personal Development School. This is your daily breakthrough video. And in this video, I want to take you through 6 steps to finding the right partner as a fearful avoidant attachment style. So I'm doing a series on this specifically because I've seen a lot of questions come up from many different individuals inside PDS, on the YouTube channel, all over, really asking like, why am I feeling stuck? Why can't I find the right person? Why do I keep running into the same patterns, the same types of individuals? Why do I almost feel like I'm replaying my internal world over and over again because I keep going through the same wounds, pain points, unmet needs, situations externally. And what can I do, especially when I'm like trying to remove some of these blocks to finding the right person for a romantic relationship long term? So we're going to cover some really important steps that you can take as a fearful avoidant. And as I've shared with the other attachment styles in here, the very first thing that's always going to be important to do is just to become intentional about what you actually want and what you're actually looking for in a meaningful relationship. I think it's so easy to feel like we let our subconscious run the show. And when our subconscious runs the show, we're just going to go based off of like attraction and whatever sort of comes up in the moment. But when we can bring our conscious mind on board and be like, hey, what's actually really important to me if I'm thinking of being in a long lasting relationship, and what are those traits, those qualities, like what am I truly looking for? Now, all of a sudden we can do stuff that helps support our journey moving on a trajectory towards things that we are actually looking for long term. So for fearful avoidance specifically, I see a lot of these really important things tend to be along the lines of somebody I can trust in a relationship, somebody I feel safe and comfortable with, somebody who accepts me, somebody who I still have some sort of like passion and excitement with, somebody who enjoys novelty, trying new things, getting out of their comfort zone from time to time. I see a lot of fearful avoidance, especially as they begin working on themselves, have a really strong need for like personal growth. And obviously, a lot of fearful avoidance tend to really value deep emotional connection. And so make your list. Like these are just some suggestions that I'm giving, but make your list. And then the second step here is like, well, where would I find people who have these things? And oftentimes, as I've been saying in other parts of the series, it's like you go back into the same dynamic over and over again, but expect a different outcome. And it's like, okay, I'm going to go back to that same restaurant I always go to, hang out with the exact same friends I always hang out with. And, there's beauty in that because of course we're enjoying those things in our lives. But if you're looking for something different, sometimes you have to do different things in order to get there. And so it means putting yourself outside of your comfort zone, going to new networking events, new, meetup groups or workshops or, different events in your area, trying new restaurants, meeting new people, going out with new friends, and actually taking that opportunity to be vulnerable and to put yourself out there a little bit more. And this is very, very valuable work to be doing. Step 3 is to discover what's blocking you at a subconscious level. Now, what I often find is that at a subconscious level, fearful avoidance carry a lot of wounds and fears about relationships as a whole. And we know our subconscious mind always kind of wins the battle at the end of the day against our conscious mind. We know the conscious mind can't outwill or overpower the subconscious mind long term. And so when you have your conscious mind that says, okay, I'm ready for a new relationship or the right relationship or a meaningful relationship, and yet you've got these subconscious blocks that are like, oh, no, but I can't trust people, but people will always leave, but I'll just fall in love with somebody and then they'll hurt me or betray me. Commitment, everybody gets bored of commitment long term, or whatever blocks you have. These are going to be things that really color the way you relate to others. Because if I try to fall in love with somebody and be in a relationship with somebody, but I believe that they're just going to hurt me and leave me long term, or they're just going to lie or cheat or betray, then I'm not going to go all in. I'm not going to really open myself up. I'm not going to actually participate in wanting to be vulnerable because I believe that it's just going to lead to this really painful outcome. And the more I love, the more it'll hurt later. And so it's extremely important as a fearful avoidant that you work to reprogram these beliefs, to release these fears that you were probably imprinted with in the past. But until you do the work on reprogramming, you're likely to fall into a situation where it's like you don't really open up and get seen and get heard and truly show up as yourself. And yes, people can betray long term, of course, but when you being in a position where you reprogram and let go of these wounds and fears that create suspicion and distrust and a total lack of really being able to be vulnerable in relationships doesn't negate like being cautious and paying attention to red flags. You can pay attention to red flags and have conscious conversations about things and decide to set boundaries or move away from things that aren't serving you without having to be in this like heightened prolonged state of like suspicion and fear of truly being yourself and fear of opening up and fear of loving long term. And so it's really important that you can strip back those beliefs and fears, do that reprogramming work, release the past from your present and future. And then actually go into a relationship where you can feel like you're truly yourself and you can really enjoy relating to somebody else in a romantic way. And so that's going to be a really important dynamic to work on. And if you want to do a deep dive for free for 7 days, check out our emotional mastery and belief reprogramming course. It's a really powerful course that will help you go through and like find exactly what those beliefs are you have about marriage, commitment, relationships, trust, love, vulnerability, all these stories that you probably have, all these fears you might have in those areas. It asks you sets of questions to really identify specifically what those are and then plug them into really powerful reprogramming tools that will give you results so you can feel like you're like settled and open to connection and not feeling so afraid or concerned and sort of in that push-pull dynamic long term. And by the way, you can check out that course for free. And so when you enter your dashboard and you enter into the school, just type in emotional mastery, you'll see it come up for free and you have access to the whole thing for 7 days and the workbook and all that stuff. And that's more than enough time to complete a course if you have a little bit of free time during the week. So reprogramming those fears will be really, really important to work on. And the next part here, our next step is that you also have to prime your subconscious mind to actually receive love from somebody else. And this means reprogramming the fears about yourself or the limiting beliefs you have about yourself, like I'm unworthy, I'm deserving, I'm not lovable, I'm not good enough, so that you feel like you're safe to receive love, receive connection from others. Because as long as we're living with those limiting beliefs in our subconscious mind, that colors all of our interactions in the workplace and our romantic relationships. It really spills into so many different things. So it's really, really important to be aware of that. Our next step here is to practice actually being yourself. A lot of fearful ones, because they tend to believe they have to like earn their worth. I see a lot of FAs in the dating stage, like not talk about their needs, not share their own personal opinions, become more agreeable, and then later kind of like resent somebody, not speak up sometimes. And sometimes I see the opposite of this too, where fearful ones can be so, quick to speak up and to set boundaries. But a lot of times they start off sort of in this people pleasing mode, only to like later feel the need to push back and like retain their sense of self, and that other side of them comes out really strongly. So practicing like feeling like you are worthy to share yourself, your truth, your opinions, your ideas, all these different things from a really early stage will also help you feel really loved and seen and understood in a relationship. And it's going to be really important for somebody to get to know the real you as you move into, dating and becoming more serious. Our very last major thing in here as well is to practice being good with your boundaries. I find that a lot of fearful avoidants can be in a position where they won't share their boundaries, won't state their boundaries and needs very early on, and then come to, again, like kind of feel like taken advantage of, or like somebody expects so much from them later. And you can give and receive and feel like you are in a place where you don't have to give of yourself in a relationship and then like feel like, oh my gosh, I need space to just like be okay and replenish myself, because you will be stating your needs within a relationship dynamic, not from a place of like feeling frustrated or resentful and then stating your needs and boundaries, but being able to do it proactively, like throughout the course of a relationship as a whole. So it's not something that has to catch up with you later when you feel like, oh my gosh, I'm boundaryless and my needs haven't been met for so long and I have to push somebody back so far, as a strategy to sort of maintain the relationship to myself. So again, if you want to do a deeper dive into that, and if that's a pain point for you and something you struggle with, you can check out our Fearful Avoidant Reprogramming course. And in the second half of that course, it talks a lot about like needs and boundaries and communication. And again, all of that's free for 7 days if you want to use the link in the description box below. So that's it for today. These are our main pieces. Thank you so much for being here and for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next video.